Welcome to Living in Grand Rapids, the podcast. I am Josh May.
I am Katie Arnold.
I am Leigha Hills.
And we have three of the May Group Realtors coming to you today with episode 2. What are we chatting about today? We got some good stuff, right?
Yeah, well, it is a crazy seller's market right now. So we thought we would talk about some tips for sellers in a seller's market.
I mean, that's kind of the hot topic of conversation right now is how crazy is this actual market? You know, I just got a call from one of my clients today and she was saying, Josh, is it really true what we're hearing? And I got to be honest with you, in my 20-year career, I have just never seen a hotter seller's market. So let's get into it.
Yeah, Leah, you want to kick it off? We've got some questions for you, Josh. So we're going to fire away.
Okay, rapid fire.
Rapid fire. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. What are some things that drive or create a seller's market?
Okay. Well, this is a great question. I get this question probably weekly. And it's the age-old definition of supply versus demand. And right now, quite frankly, we have a very, very low supply of homes, which is creating incredibly high demand. It's driving up prices, but I want to go a little bit deeper to everybody by talking about how this actually happened. And I want to give you some stats because this is mind-blowing for me from somebody that's kind of been through the last 2 decades and seen the ups and downs of both a buyer's market and seller's market. But why we are here today, if we dig deeper, we need to understand that from 2010 through 2020, the building supply was actually at 25% of the amount that it was for any other decade over the past 50 years. So builders built 75% less homes over the past 11 years. And there was reasons for that because we came out of the worst real estate recession in American history in 2010, 2011. Many of the builders lost a lot of their staff during that time and have taken years to kind of regroup and really get going. But it's put us behind in the building supply. And let's take that even a step further. Now we've got tons of millennials that want to enter the market, and they've wanted to enter the market over the past 5 years. This is a huge population base that everybody's getting in, but there's just not enough opportunities right now. So, you know, follow a lot of national economists. I think we've got another 2 to 3, 4 years of this. But what's driving this seller's market is, you know, the lack of opportunities, the lack of supply. And you really have to dig a bit deeper and look back 10 years to understand why that's happening and why we're here today. So that was the long answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because I would have thought you were just going to tell me because interest rates are so low. So to actually kind of put it into that greater perspective is really interesting.
Yeah. And then you've got, you do have interest rates. You bring up a great point. So the buyers, they look at this as an opportunity of interest rates are so low and the economy in most cases is doing very well. I want to enter the market, but with the limited inventory, it's difficult. And there's multiple offers, and that is continuing to drive the prices up and make this kind of a dominant seller's market right now.
How would you suggest sellers prepare for this market?
Yeah, I think, it's interesting because I'm a big planner. I believe in having a game plan and executing the game plan. And what I've seen, for sellers to really be able to maximize their return right now and capitalize on this market, you can't just kind of throw your house out there and say, hey, now's a good time to do this and let's get it on the market ASAP. What you really need to do is take the time to analyze, the interior and exterior of a home, make sure that is really dialed in from a quality, a declutter standpoint, a depersonalization standpoint, almost really taking a look at the interior staging details, because presentation is absolutely everything in this market. And it goes back to supply and demand. I mean, if there's very few houses on the market and your house comes out and hits the market in a low inventory environment and it's just stunning, that is 100% going to create a huge return for sellers. So if sellers ask me one thing they should do, they should really take the time to put together a game plan that can come with, setting up a time to meet with their real estate professional. And, in many cases, sellers that I meet with, we'll meet minimum 30, 60, 90 days in advance just to do walkthroughs, just to set them up with staging consultants, to set them up with, any type of vendors. Maybe we need to do some cost-effective improvements to get their house ready. So there's really a layered approach to, okay, let's analyze the home. Let's talk pricing if we did nothing. And then let's talk pricing if we did all of the great things, and just make sure that there's going to be a return there, which there should be. Take the time to do the staging, declutter, depersonalize, take the time to do the improvements. Then we hit the market. We're going to go off. It's going to be a great thing. I see it all the time with the listings that we're personally listing right now.
Awesome. With all that staging and afterwards, and we're all set, ready to go, sell the house, is there a particular day that is best for the home to go live on market?
Yeah, it's another good question. And that is a good question amongst the realtor community right now, because we're all really trying to analyze what is best for our clients, again, in order to kind of maximize the return, what day of the week we should go live, how many days we should keep it open. And I do want to say a little bit of this is seller's preference, right? So we are coming out of COVID, and there are some sellers that say, Josh, we want you to get this done ASAP. We want to review offers as they come in, and we don't want, 100 people through our home. So we do have that side of our clientele base. But for the most part, what we're finding is people want exposure right now. Everybody's excited about the opportunity to maximize their return and see how much they can get for their house. So our game plan specifically is, we'll prep a home for sale. That'll take maybe 20, 30 days. We'll target a Tuesday or Wednesday for photos, high level video. We'll get everything edited. We'll go live potentially on a Thursday, start showings on a Friday. So we'll have showings all day Friday. We'll have showings all day Saturday. We'll have showings all day Sunday. And then we'll review offers on Monday. That just gives more people an opportunity to get through your home. And we review any offers in certain price points. In fact, in most price points, we've got offer deadlines right now. It gives the most people the opportunity to see your home, which in this market, that is important. Now, the interesting thing is 5 years ago, I had a completely different stance on this, and most people did, where you would list a house and you would be ecstatic to get an offer right away. And if you got the terms that you wanted, you'd accept the offer, and you weren't so concerned about the 3 or 4 other showings that you're going to be canceling the next day. But in this low inventory market, we want to get as many people through the house as possible and get people to put their highest and best offer in. So that is the scoop.
Well, and that is a great segue to our last question, which is, what are you looking for with your sellers when you're reviewing those offers? And kind of what are the parts of the offer that really stand out to sellers right now?
Such a great question. Okay, so real estate is a game of momentum, right? You go through all this work to get your home ready, and you got 3 to 4 days to make it count. So, you get all your offers together, you're reviewing all your offers, and in the back of your mind, you're thinking, you know what, I need to look at all of the terms of an offer, because what I can't have happen here is a buyer gets 5, 7, 10 days, 2 weeks into the process, and they decide that this isn't going to work for them. When you're reviewing 5, 7, 8 offers, you have to analyze everything. So I think most sellers are going to start with price. But price doesn't mean everything, right? If you have a very high price, but potentially, some concerns with financing, maybe concerns with a down payment, maybe concerns with, time for inspection period, then you're really taking everything into account. So as real estate professionals, we take price into account. We take inspection, whether buyers have done a pre-inspection, whether they're going to waive their inspection, or whether they're going to shorten their inspection period. Financing is important, whether that's cash, conventional, FHA, VA. Everything is taken into account as far as that goes. Pricing is getting bid up a little bit. So in a lot of cases, people are paying premiums, and they're okay with that. But we need to analyze, okay, what happens if an appraisal comes in low? Is a buyer financially able to cover any gap between the appraised value and the actual purchase price? We look at ease of the transition, from a close date to possession time after close. We really are looking for buyers to be very detailed right now, very organized, because from a buyer's perspective, you got one shot to make a first impression. And I'm very big on just like when I present offers to sellers, I want these offers to be incredibly organized, incredibly detailed, which then in turn gives me and sellers some comfort in knowing that, hey, this is a very well thought out offer package. We're taking all this into account and we're going to choose this offer based on some of the things we talked about. So great question. I'm going through that on a couple deals right now and having fun with that on a Monday afternoon here. So yeah, great questions. Anything else you got for me?
That is all the questions we have for you. Do you have any other tips that you might want to throw out there before we close out the show?
No, I think that, the biggest tip, because I see it all the time, we as real estate professionals, we're in this every day. And many of us have been doing this for a long time. So we understand the market conditions very well right now. And the only thing I will say is I'll get a call from sellers that just don't, they're not in it every day. They don't understand all the ins and outs and all the details. And I'm really happy that when they call me, so I can make sure that they're thinking about all these things in great detail, because again, the difference between doing the things that we discussed versus not doing the things we discussed can quite frankly cost people $20, $30, $40, $50,000. So the biggest thing I want to mention is if you're even thinking about it, contact a professional, set up that initial consultation to put a plan in place and just make sure everything is being discussed. Because again, there's never been a greater time in the past 20 years, maybe, potentially in real estate history, to maximize your return as a seller. So take the time is what I say.
Awesome. Well, I think that is all that we have.
All right. Well, I appreciate all the questions. I didn't sweat too much, but just a little bit. So wasn't too difficult for me today, but thank you all for joining in to episode 2, Living in Grand Rapids.
Yeah. Now we'll let you get back to actually living in Grand Rapids.